you, especially, I've seen one time. And it's nice meeting you also. I'm going to read from a short story called Byzantium. And the funny thing about this particular story is that I discovered it, well, rediscovered it rather. Maybe it's happened to some of you all before. I wrote it about 6 years ago, maybe 7 years ago, and I didn't finish it because I didn't really feel like I was ready to finish it just then. And I was sharing with Harriet before, it's funny how art is. Sometimes you don't finish something and you don't really know what's missing until you see it. And it happened to me in this past trip to Los Angeles. Anyways, I won't say any more, I'll just start reading. Again, the short story is called Byzantium, after the poem by William Butler Yeats, which is one of my favorites, Sailing to Byzantium. Even now, as the last customer slowly wends toward a lonely moonlit beetle, and as she disappears one elbow at a time into its dark insides before it scuttles around the bend, Santiago feels it welling up inside of him so uncontrollably that he lifts one hand to his mouth to stop from crying out. Obligation, concern, love, guilt. The four horsemen rattle him from within, tugging at his stomach so violently that Santiago feels a terrible fear, a vortex, gnawing away just beneath his heart. How he got through the last few hours is still a mystery to him, he admits, as he locks the front doors with a long-awaited click. He hadn't even allowed himself the respite of his office, his own office, where he could have hidden behind its windowless door. A face buried in wet, salted palms could have easily gone unnoticed here. No one likes to knock on a closed door, especially if it's their manager's closed door. No one would have heard his tearful gasps for air or seen the shaking of his shoulders that now, a hand against the cold electric door, his blue shirt and black tie and fading name tag pressed against the glass, that even now are beginning to tremble. It doesn't matter. He's finally alone after all. The overnight crew will not arrive for at least another hour, and the parking lot is wind-whipped and barren. But no tears will escape Santiago's eyes tonight, not even if it is unbearable, and not even if his son Josue is dying. He wouldn't have believed it had he not read the letter himself. His mother had muttered that something had arrived from Josue, but when he searched the kitchen table for that day's mail, he found nothing but some unopened bills stacked beneath the napkin holder. Santiago had felt bad for scolding her when the supposed letter failed to materialize. These days, his mother couldn't be trusted as a source of credible information on account of her condition. Just the other morning, Santiago had again come home from work to find his mother sitting calmly at the windowsill, staring intensely into the dark alleyway beneath the apartment that they shared. She had been brushing the brittle white hair that hung well past her shoulders and looked up only when he rested his fingers on her arm. Her dark green eyes briefly met his own before she slowly turned one side of her face to him. She slouched deeper into the wooden rocker, expressionless. "Leave me alone," she had hissed to him in Spanish. "I want to see Alfonso coming." Her sudden anger no longer surprised him. She no longer remembered that terrible night in April, much less that she had a dying grandson. Her memory had been wiped clean, something that Santiago had learned to be jealous of. And whenever Santiago tried to remind her gently that his father had been dead for 20 years, and that, save for the blaring of celestial trumpets or angels with robe-covered feet setting fire to the sky, Alfonso wouldn't be coming home, her reaction was always the same. A face more wrinkled than the sea, a peal of grief in a torrent